Welcome, everybody. It is the first day of school at People's Church, the first day of religious education for children and youth of this church year. I know my small people were excited to have their baskets of fidgets, and we talked this morning about which friends might be in their classrooms and went into the classroom and saw all of the name tags laid out. And they got very excited. And so as we begin, I hope that for our small people and for our medium-sized people and for our big people, this will be a place of learning what's in our curriculum, because we're teaching our children this year about peace and social justice and just how to be a human with other humans again, which is a thing that I think a lot of us need maybe formal instruction in at this point. And also all of the things that we teach outside of those formal classroom times, about showing up for one another, about who we are and what we value, about how all of us are seekers of truth, and our attempts to do everything with love at its center. So come, let us gather. Come, let us celebrate our children and the teachers and advisors who are leading them this year. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. My name is Donna McClurkin, and I'm here as a member of the Sunday Services Committee. And whether you're in the Commons here, on Zoom, or watching us later on YouTube, welcome to People's Church. A special welcome is extended to newcomers and visitors to this service. Welcome to this space, a place to learn from and with each other, here and all the places we are together, what it means to be Unitarian Universalists. We are so glad you're here.
And as we begin today, I have several announcements. Next Friday is our first ever church campout on the church grounds. So we're meeting next Friday at 6 for activities, s'mores, stories, flashlight tag, and fun. Come after dinner, bring a tent or a camper, or just come for the evening and go back and sleep in your own comfortable bed if you prefer. We'll be serving breakfast on Saturday morning as well. All ages are welcome, so grown-ups, if you bring small people, you are responsible for them for the whole night. Mary Kate Webster and Brandon Brown, are you guys in the room today? Over there, they are the people to talk to if you have questions, or there's a postcard with more information at the registration table. Next Sunday, we are recognizing our newest members of People's Church. And if you're someone who is thinking about church membership, this would be an excellent time to take the plunge. So talk to me. Yesterday, we had a fabulous building and grounds work day. They did all kinds of projects from the roof to the walls to the gardens. And now there are a collection of hostas under a tree out in front of the church building. And last time I looked, there were still a few available. They had been disappearing all morning. So if you want to take one home with you from church today, be quick and go grab one after the service. And now, Bazaar announcements. The preparation for our holiday bazaar continues to be underway. And There are only a few chances left to make pasties. All of next weekend is booked, but there is a new session on October 14th and 15th. And rumor has it that is the last pasty session. So if that is something that is part of your fall tradition, or you would like it to become part of your fall tradition, please sign up. We're also ready for you to sign up for specialty foods or crafts you can make to contribute to our People's Specialties tables. This year at the Bazaar, we are not having a cafe or a white elephant room, so your contributions for these tables that will fill our foyer will bring the income that helps support our church. These items are the most profitable part of the church bazaar. So involve your kids and make a batch of cookies or jam, or make extra of your favorite soup or casserole and freeze a container for the popular frozen entree section. Please join in the fun and sign up in the foyer or on our website today. And now let's sing.
Good morning. I invite you to rise as you are willing and able, and we're going to sing together. First of all, we're going to start with a rhythm. There's two parts to this chorus. I'm going to teach you both, and there's a couple of verses. I'm just going to do them, but we're going to start like this. Gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other. And here's this low part. You gotta put one foot in front of the other one. One foot, and lead. One more time. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other. Just me. Don't give up hope. You're not alone. Don't you give up. Keep moving on. And into the chorus. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead. Lift up your eyes. Don't you despair. Look up ahead. The path is there. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other one. One foot, and lead. I know you're scared, and I'm scared too, but here I am, right next to you. Let's take it out with the chorus. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with, last time. Gotta put one foot in front of the other one. One foot, and lead with love. Last time. And lead with love. Thank you.
And now we'll have our chalice lighting, and I believe Jasmine Wilson is going to do that. Just a reminder for those of you at home, you're encouraged to type in the chat box that chalice is lit, and wherever you are. We light this chalice for our children and youth and for us, celebrating the flame of faith lit in each of us, honoring the light each of us bring into the world, rejoicing in the community we create together.
Slide up now. Slide.
Good morning. I'm so excited to see all of you here this morning on our first Sunday of our religious education classes for our preschool through our high school aged children and youth. This year we have such an exciting and fun and interesting and engaging theme that I'm so excited about. We're learning about peace and justice, environmental justice, social justice. Kids are going to be learning in age development ways from kindergarten through high school about what's happening in the world today, and more importantly, what can we do to make a positive difference in this world today. So I think if you guys keep your eyes peeled around the church this year, on the bulletin boards, if we're having a collection drive in the front foyer, the front lobby, you'll see some ways that kids are organizing, ways to make a positive difference, and learning that they do have power to make change. We all make a difference, one way or the other. We just need to know what we can do to make a positive difference, to make the world a more peaceful, more just, more whole, and more loving place. So I'm very excited about our kickoff for in-person RE classes for the first time since the pandemic. And I gotta tell ya, people are really at capacity right now. So this year was the hardest year in 20 years that I've had to find leaders to work with our children. So at this moment, I would like to call up the people who are on this slide in front of you to come and stand before me on the steps facing the congregation so that we can acknowledge and dedicate these fantastic adults who have answered the call and said yes to work with our children and youth this year. So would you guys all come up and bring your order of service with you? We are very fortunate that in these times when people are feeling at capacity, that these people are willing to step above and beyond the call and be willing to dedicate some time and energy and love to our children and youth. So with that, I would invite the congregation to say with me the reading in your order of service. We find these joys to be self-evident, that all children are created whole, endowed with innate intelligence and dignity and wonder. All children are worthy of respect as the embodiment of life, liberty, and happiness. Children are original blessings here to learn their own song. Every child is entitled to love, dream, and belong to a loving community. And may the teachers all say with me, We affirm our duty to nourish and nurture the young, to honor their caring ideals as the heart of being human. We recognize the early years as the foundation of life and cherish the contribution of children to human evolution. And the congregation, we commit ourselves to peaceful ways and vow to keep children from harm or neglect. As guardians of their prosperity, we honor the bountiful earth whose diversity sustains us. Thus we pledge our love for generations to come.
And now we have a world premiere for you all of our new recessional. So many of you remember that we used to sing Go Now in Peace, and the composer of that piece never gave us permission to change the words. And the original words are not words that fit with us and our theological diversity. And so I told Savannah, our music director, and Jennifer, our pianist, that we needed something new. And so they wrote something new. I know, right? And so they're going to do it once to help us learn it, and then we're going to sing it, and children will go to their classes.
Go forth in peace, in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way. And may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go. Go forth in peace, in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way. And may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go.
Okay, and now children and teachers, it is time to go to your classes. May the joy of life surround you. Do you know where to go? That is such a lovely piece. Thank you both. Such a lovely piece. So peace and social justice is not the only thing that People's Church teaches. Over the last 6 years or so, there has been an informal People's Church School of Driving that has helped folks mostly from Syria and Afghanistan gain the skills they need to pass a driving test. These are refugees, asylees, and others who did not choose to make a new life here in Kalamazoo, but life has plans for us sometimes, and they are here, and they need to drive. And so there's a distinguished faculty of this school, including Rick Johnson, Gary Heckman, Bob Davis, Pat Van Slambrook, and others, who teach people how to drive, often in our parking lot, sometimes using our riding lawnmower as a first vehicle. And about 15 people have learned to drive from our distinguished driving school. It's amazing. And our team of teachers have, I think, been through more scares than they care to admit. I know one of them has said they had to give up caffeine because of the anxiety they were feeling being behind the wheel with some folks when they were first learning. But because of their dedication and commitment and using the skills that they had in a way that makes the world better, there are 15 people with the independence they need for themselves and their families to exist in this community. It is no small thing. Peebles people are generous in so many ways. And this is the moment where I invite you to continue to be the generous people that you are. The offering will now be received.
And now please join me in giving thanks for all that sustains us. From the countless gifts we each have been given, gifts of life and love and sustenance, we bring these small portions to share in the works of love, which none of us can accomplish alone.
Our words for meditation today are by Kimberly Ann Tomzak Carlson, who is a Unitarian Universalist minister and religious educator in Wisconsin. She writes, "Feel the gravity of the earth holding you in place. Wiggle your toes as if they were roots. Roots connecting you to the earth and lending you strength. Gently sway in the wind, turning your body like a trunk of a tree. Leaning this way and that, bending. What surrounds you may sway you, may make you feel unbalanced. Wiggle your toes. Know that your roots can hold you as you grow and learn. A tree is nourished by the soil and water. You are nourished by the food the earth grows and the water it provides. You are cared for and loved by many people. Breathe deeply. Still yourself. Know that your roots are strong. Wiggle your toes.
Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit. the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
Most Important Word by Laura Grace Weldon. Before teaching my first child all 8 letters of his name, I showed him how to write the most important word. Tongue tucked against upper lip, pencil tight in soft 4-year-old fingers, he copied my letters, drew a chair back with wobbly seat, tippy egg, empty ice cream cone, pitchfork without a handle. That spells love, I told him. He wrote it on crayoned pictures, breath-fogged windows, chalked sidewalks. He wrote it alongside the next words he learned. Love mom, love dad, love tree, love squeezed next to his own name. Shapes unlocked into symbols. Soon he read aloud stories to go with pictures he drew. Now I teach his daughter that first magical word. She concentrates, lines rollicking onto the paper, tongue curled against her lip. What Your Degrees Have Not Taught You by Kristen L. Harper. Your degree has not taught you true equality, that we are each precious children of one universe, that the blood in my veins is as blue as yours, that what you have doesn't make you better than those that have not, that you deserve no more nor no less than others. Your degree has not taught you real acceptance, that embracing difference will only make you stronger, that diversity draws you deeper into life, deeper into yourself and all you have to offer. Your degree has not taught you how to look at your mistakes and laugh in your belly at the humanity unveiled, nor to forgive and move on from the unattainable perfection that will always elude you. Your degree has not taught you to feel the heartbeat of the earth, to feel the trees calling and the wind teasing and the water roaring, nor how to be transformed in a sunbeam and soar to the heavens. Your degree has not taught you how to love universally, to see beyond the masks others wear, into the hearts that ache and want and need, just as you do. Your degree did not teach you to accept the death we all come to and find rest in the grace of the warm, dark universe and find yourself a star among the planets.
Our final reading is from an essay delivered as the annual Berry Street essay to a gathering of Unitarian Universalist ministers by Eugene Navias in 1983. Navias was a UU minister and a religious educator who developed the first UU sexuality education curriculum in the late 1960s. He came out as gay in his professional life in the early 1980s and led the UUA's response to the AIDS crisis. And he writes, "We are called to look in a holistic way at the educational effect of everything we do, both the spoken curriculum and the silent curriculum. All that happens in our religious household teaches, whether for or against, free inquiry, the worth and dignity of persons, the democratic process, human justice. We are blessed or cursed, aided or hampered by the allness of our educational impact." He continues, "Many times in my ministry, I've caught myself espousing one thing but teaching another by my actions. I espoused the rights and powers of congregationally elected committees in my ministry in Concord, New Hampshire, and then was caught being manipulative and paternalistic and power-seizing. What was I teaching? The lesson was that I, as the minister, had more rights, power, wisdom than the delegates of the people. I was teaching that I did not trust the congregation to make wise decisions, and that open inquiry and democratic process are to be aborted on the way to liberal salvation if one wishes. It was a painful lesson and an important one. I would use the term quality controller to describe a role of religious leadership which helps the congregation monitor its own teachings. Do congregations really intend all they teach? There's an ill-clothed, smelly old man who comes to church. He is seated by the ushers in a pew so far removed that he can scarcely see the pulpit, or more importantly, be within sniffing range of anyone else. He does not seem to get invited to coffee hour, as some do. Is he one of God's or nature's or the astounding universe's children? Is there any hope for his inclusion or growth in the land of the flaming chalice? Not by our teaching. I have visited affluent churches where everything seems to get funded except wheelchair ramps and elevators. Are people with disabilities among nature's or God's or the astounding universe's children? Not by our teaching, he concludes.
Our next song is number 354 in your hymnal. You'll find, oh, yep, it's number 354.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need close friends we can call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give. We have our thoughts to receive. And we believe that sharing is an answer. A child is born among us and we feel a special glow. We see time's endless journey as we watch the baby grow. imagination freely running wild. We dedicate our minds and hearts to the spirit of this child, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a time to be together, and with the grace of age we share the wonder of youth, and we believe that growing is an answer. Our lives are full of wonder and our time is very brief. The death of one among us fills us all with pain and grief. But as we live, so shall we die, and when our lives are done, the memories we shared with friends, they will linger on, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a place to be together. We have the right to grow, we have the gift to believe that peace within our living is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here to make sense of what we find. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a joy being together. And in our search for peace, maybe we'll finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
I was raised Unitarian Universalist. I attended religious education classes most Sundays for most of my childhood. And I have a confession this first Sunday of our religious education program year. I remember almost nothing I was taught in any of those classes. I remember a multi-week session of making houses out of refrigerator boxes when I was in elementary school. I was talking to my dad and my mom yesterday, and they said that was supposed to teach us about like what makes a home, but I just remember painting refrigerator boxes. I remember learning a little bit about Martin Luther King Jr. I remember the images from the film strip I was shown in our sexuality education class. I remember the minister visiting the youth group a few times and how important I felt then. I remember a drum circle and a sweat lodge, and I remember learning a meditation practice that I still use today. But all of my most vivid memories of church as a child were not in religious education classrooms. I remember this beautiful, huge cedar tree that somehow could hold all of the church kids, at least in my memory, and we would spend our coffee hours climbing it. I remember the annual chocolate sundae, which was the Sunday before Valentine's Day, and we would have a potluck that was only chocolate. It was amazing. If someone wants to start that here, I wouldn't be upset about it. So I remember also running around wild with all of my friends afterwards. I remember the church softball game, and to keep it fun, the rule was that if you were any good at hitting, you had to hit from the wrong side of the plate for you, just to keep it competitive. And I remember the year that I was old enough that I needed to learn how to bat right-handed. And it just, was such an accomplishment to be deemed worthy of that challenge. I remember helping with the annual art show, which was that church's answer to the holiday bazaar, being part of that common project, serving coffee, providing childcare, staffing artist booths so they could take breaks. I remember sharing a reflection on my beliefs in a service when I was in 8th grade or so and was trying to earn a patch or a badge or something in Campfire, and how people took what I said very seriously. I felt very adult. There's the Easter tradition that I've told you before of wearing hats to church in honor of a church member who was the only person in our church who ever bothered to dress up for church. But after she died, we all started wearing Easter bonnets. And I remember the church elder who invited me to her home to tell me the story of how she lost re-election to the school board during the Red Scare in the 1950s because people feared she was a communist. I was writing a paper on that period for a US history class, and I remember how impressed my teacher was with my primary source research. And I was just talking to Maybelle. And more than anything, I remember that church as a surrogate extended family. We did not have extended family close by, and I knew at church people cared about me. I knew, especially in the tumult of my junior high years, that church was a place that I could be myself and be accepted. I found some of my best friends there. People I'm close to still now, later, and so many honorary aunts and uncles, cousins, and grandparents. If you were raised in a religious community, what are your most vivid memories? Do you remember what they were trying to teach you in formal educational settings, or are you like me and remember the other things? On this first Sunday of our religious education year, as we celebrate our teachers and send our children and youth to their classes with our blessings, I want us to remember that the religious education of our children and each other is not something that we can delegate to a committed team of staff and volunteers, no matter how excellent. It is a shared project. It is the work of all of us. We are religiously educating each other and creating the memories of church that will stick with our children, but also ourselves. It is all of our words and actions that teach more than what is written in any lesson plan. Religious educator and UUA staff person Connie Goodbread likes to say, everything we do is faith formation. Everything we teach is Unitarian Universalism. The congregation is the curriculum. This has become a constant refrain among many circles of Unitarian Universalist clergy and religious educators. What does it mean? Everything we do is faith formation. Ideally, everything that happens in this community helps us learn, clarify our own truths, and live lives better in alignment with our deepest values. That's easy to see in our classes, but what about our committees? What about pasty making? I see it happening there too. I see it again and again. Last week, our finance committee was discussing how to prepare for the eventual need for significant building repairs and other things. It's not urgent, don't worry. This is not a backdoor capital campaign, anything. But having these serious planning conversations about how we care for our shared resource is important. It's about what's possible now and about what we owe the people who aren't here yet. They're questions about integrity and what it means to live faithfully and to be good ancestors for those who are coming. And I wish all leaders thought about these questions as seriously as I see people navigating them here. And while I don't expect our pasty makers to be going deep on the nature of evil or any other big, profound questions, though they might as they roll out the dough and cut rutabagas, they are building the connections, weaving the web that will hold us all when the challenges come. I see so many people using their skills in new ways to further the common good, from all of the people teaching who are educators professionally, to the veterinarian back there who knows about how to avoid infectious disease outbreaks in animals, and so could use a lot of those skills with us as we were trying to figure out our new ventilation systems and COVID mitigation strategies, to the distinguished faculty of People's Church School of Driving, sharing their skills with those who need them to make a new life in this country. It is using what you know to improve the world, living with integrity. When we show up for service or social action, we are making real our beliefs in interdependence. We are making real our belief that we are not the center of the universe, and we each have the power to make the world, or at least our tiny corner of it, better. Everything we teach is Unitarian Universalism. When I spoke with Diane Melvin, our religious educator, about this service, she told me a story. In an RE class, the lesson for the day was on peace. And most of the kids are paying attention to the story, but 3 of the kids are like starting to poke each other and elbow, and maybe, you can see it's starting to escalate. Maybe it'll be roughhousing in a minute. What do you do? What most teaches our values in that moment? It's pausing, it's working through the conflict or the friction and redirecting to something else. The right answer is talking about our values here at People's Church, how we respect each other and each other's bodies, how we talk through conflict. Even if the curriculum lesson is not completed that day, a more important lesson is happening, and the respect is taught by intervening before things get out of hand. Everything we teach is Unitarian Universalism. How we greet each other on Sundays, if we smile behind our masks or across the Zoom screen at people we don't know. When our feelings are hurt, do we stay in the relationship and work it through? When we miss the mark or make a mistake, do we make amends and make it right? Those are all the things that teach one another about our faith more than anything that's written out on a lesson plan. Maybe you can't recite the 7 principles or the bond of union that all People's Church members sign. I know I can't. I think if anybody thinks they can, we should give them some kind of prize. That's a lot of words. But if we are doing things right, every person who interacts with People's Church, from longtime members to first-time visitors, to our community partners, to all of the people who tell me out in the world, I don't go to church, but if I did, it would be People's Church. We have a whole, I don't know how many extra congregations we have of the people who go to this church if they went to church. But hopefully all of those people know that People's Church and that Unitarian Universalism is about respect for the earth, respect for people, a commitment to justice, equity, and the democratic process. They shall know us by our love, and the rest is details. And the congregation is the curriculum, is the final piece of that saying. And to unpack that, we're going to get into some religious education theory, everybody. So Maria Harris was a Catholic educator who taught all ages of students from elementary to graduate level. And her book, Fashion Me a People, she outlines 3 ways a religious community teaches: the explicit curriculum, the implicit curriculum, and the null curriculum. The explicit curriculum is not explicit in the way we normally think of, but it's the things that are intentionally taught. It's the curriculum, literally, that guides our religious education teachers, the topics covered in our Inquirer series for newcomers, the books selected by the study group and book groups, and the topics of our Chalice circles and discussion groups. It's sermon topics and the 7 principles and our mission statement. It's the stuff about which we clearly say, this is important. This is what we are going to learn together. The implicit curriculum is the norms and practices that aren't said out loud, but are nonetheless taught here. In the reading I shared earlier, it is the minister who, through manipulation, paternalization, and power seizing, teaches that the church does not believe in the democratic process. It's when the person who isn't dressed well is seated far away from everyone else and not invited to participate in the whole life of the church. It's when wheelchair ramps remain unfunded. I know some churches say, we don't staff the nursery because nobody with babies ever comes. And then if someone with a baby shows up, there's not a nursery, so they don't come back, right? Do our actions show that everyone is among nature's or God's or the astounding universe's children? There are always gaps between what is explicitly taught and the actions of a community. We are humans. This is a human institution. We cannot individually or collectively live into our highest ideals every day, all day long. How I wish it could be. We are always falling short, and we are always trying again. And we strive to close those gaps between who we say we want to be and who we actually are. We do this. The recent efforts to ensure that all People's Church employees are earning a living wage is part of that. Your generosity came through to have us say people should earn, so now we can go out into the world and say people should be paid fairly for their work, earn enough to live in our community without the shame of knowing we're not doing that ourselves. And the third category is the null curriculum. So these are the things that are entirely omitted. What are the things that are never mentioned here? Who, what beliefs, what experiences? The church where I did my internship on the way to the ministry had a pattern where people stopped coming when their life got hard. It seemed like there was just no room for divorce or grief or addiction at that church, because this church had a history of being kind of the church where the fancy people went, very waspy, no room for the messiness that comes to everyone's life. And while the ministers were working to shift that, they couldn't shift the culture on their own. So when people had a hard time, they felt like to show up at church, they had to pretend that it wasn't so hard. And that pretending gets very exhausting. And so they drifted away. What are we ignoring as a church? And what does that communicate to each other, to our children, to people who are seeking a church home? We have 52 Sundays a year, and there are so many more than 52 topics worthy of our focused attention, whether in Sunday services or in religious education. And some of the things left out of Sunday mornings are picked up in chalice circles or other areas of our life together. But we are surely leaving things out. And it's so hard because the null curriculum is by definition the things you don't notice you're not doing. And so newcomers and new members and visitors are often our best noticers of this stuff because they see our silences better than we can. So if you are newer among us, I invite you to let me know about the null curriculum here. What are we communicating with silence or inaction? So this idea of the explicit, implicit, and null curricula help us think through what we do here. And I have found it such a useful frame beyond our walls as well. Think of other organizations you are a part of. Think of your family. Think of your own individual life. What do you say out loud is important? What do your actions teach? What are the gaps between those two? What do you communicate with silence or inaction? And how might you shrink all the gaps? I'm closing today with another piece of the essay that I read earlier, Parish Ministry and Pedagogy. It's from 1983, and I can hear him speaking to us across the decades. He writes, "The task of all forms of religious leadership is always on the side of transformation and transcendence. It is to help people to be, to find roots, to find wings, to become and to surpass what they have been. For me, that task always involves our own transformation and that of our society. We seek to transcend what has been, and that is often most painful, most difficult when we apply it personally, for we live in a fishbowl where it is hard for us to show that we have stunted edges that beg for growth. And yet, we know that the pain of our growing is as nothing to the collective pain of a world society desperately conflicted, teetering nervously between ideologies, theologies, and stratagems, caught between greed and planetary survival, seemingly locked in a race hell-bent for hell." He continues, "We change the world starting with ourselves. We help in building a liberal oasis. We reach out to the desert beyond. We work in concert with others. We mobilize ourselves and others for transcending the greatest threats that history has ever known. Always we know that to help others grow, we must start with ourselves. We too must grow." And so to the last act of praxis. As you consider what you have learned of truth or folly, of vision or void, what does it say to you? And if it says anything to you, what do you intend to do about it? So may we, in this shared endeavor that is People's Church, find our roots and our wings, seek transformation and transcendence, be an oasis that is always reaching to the desert beyond. And may we remember, everything we do is faith formation. Unitarian Universalism is all that we teach here. The congregation is the curriculum. May it be so. May we make it so. And amen. Okay, our closing hymn today is Spirit of Life by Carolyn McDade. It's number 123 in your hymnal. And before you sing, I want to tell you the story of this hymn. McDade writes about this song. "During a time of intense social justice activism, I drove a friend home from yet another meeting. As I stopped to let her out, I confided to her how dry I felt, like cardboard years in an attic. The slightest movement of air and I would disintegrate into dust. Even now, I remember the despair that image conveys. Finally at home, I moved to the piano. In the dark, I sat, and in singing, my heart was freed. There was no plan or expectation in that moment, only a deep and immediate plea by a despairing soul. My ardent desire was to stay faithful to the movements I loved, to the people of these movements, their tally of goodness toward a world healthy and just for all. And this is the song that she wrote that night. Let us sing.
Please rise in the body of your spirit. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
And I will bless all of us today with the blessing that we sang to our children, youth, and teachers. Go forth in peace, in search of wisdom, with love to guide you on your way. And may the joy of life surround you wherever you may go. Go in peace and go in love.